Hi everyone, welcome back to WHU TV. My name is John, your host as always, and I hope you're doing well as I always do under these very difficult circumstances of the lockdown. Welcome to episode 61 of Daily Live Chat with John, where I talk to you mostly about West Ham stuff, a few other bits and pieces as well. I've got my water here because I'm sweating like crazy. It's unbelievably hot again today. Really, really nice to have some of those. Just unfortunately, we can't go out and enjoy it as much as we'd like to. But as I say, this, as you saw from the intro video, this is an open Q&A, so you can talk to me about anything you want to talk about. I'll talk to you. We ask each other questions, etc., etc. So yeah, I've got my water, got my tissues because I'm literally sweating all the time, and so let's, as always, there's only got one person in the chat so far, so I'm guessing everybody else is clocking in late because there's 6 of you so far watching. Sophie and hello, mate. Looking forward to the show. Good. I'm glad you are, mate. I'm looking forward to doing it as always. I'm always loving the fact of interacting with everybody. Now, the first thing I want to say is obviously you guys would have known from the information that was been going up from the club and been retweeted and put on Facebook and all that sort of stuff. It was 17 years ago today that we lost Mark Vivian Foe, very, very talented central midfielder. We signed in January of '99. He made since then until May 2000 when he I think he was sold in June if I remember correctly. Excuse me, but yeah, he made 46 appearances in central midfield, 2 goals and 4 assists, and made his debut against Wimbledon. So yeah, it's a real shame to that it's 7. It doesn't feel that it's been a year since it was announced last year that it was obviously his 16th, the anniversary of his death. As I've always rated him. I thought he was a very, very good player for us. A little bit underrated in certain guises, but when Paolo Di Canio says what he says about him, how much of a beautiful, great man he was, that's not exactly small praise. So he must have been quite a talented bloke. Rick says, hi guys, I'm only listening tonight because I think you're at work still, mate. Eden says, evening, hello guys, hope you're doing all right. Now, it was also quite a bit of a heartbreaking reading. There was a report that came out earlier today to say that 20 million Americans have now got the coronavirus. Apparently, it's been recorded as. It's awful. It really is bad that all those guys are getting that, have got that level of infection. So apologies, and I'm sure that I'm hoping everybody is behaving. Of course, we all saw the photograph of Bournemouth Beach yesterday over here for that sweltering hot day, and what bloody idiots they've been doing. What idiots they've been. I mean, what are they doing? I know it's a beautiful beach, and I know it's a beautiful hot sunny day, but come on. Don't overload the beach. It's going to cause a second wave if it keeps happening like this. But this is the thing. I'm hoping in isolation that's the case. Because we saw it in April. We talked about it in April as well when people were doing the same thing. It's a shocking thing. It really, really is a shocking thing. Chris, hello mate. Good evening. Search up Daniel Bryant. He is a wrestler and looks like Jared Bowen. It's not super bad. You mean he's not super bad as in the movie? Lucas Sheriff, hello guys. Hope you're doing all right. Now, as I said at the end of the yesterday's live chat, that I would go and watch the Pablo Zabaleta farewell video, and it's beautiful. It really, really is nice. The guy is such a really, really cool bloke, and it backs up what we were saying the other day. Was it yesterday or the day before? And that he didn't sign the long-term, the short-term extension to his contract because he had an injury, and he says that he didn't feel that he was it was the right thing to do. Very, very reminiscent of Ginge when he went to Ipswich. He signed a contract and then picked himself up an injury, and then he tore his contract up because he knew he didn't think it was right. And so fair play to him. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and it makes a complete mark of the guy that we've known. I mean, we've only known him for 3 seasons. He gave his all. He's been an absolute legend for the Premier League. in general. You know, with his time with Man City, he says he's going to go home and see his wife over in Spain because he's missing him, and I completely understand that. You know, he's not been able to see him for a few months because of this lockdown and everything. On top of playing football as well. You know, it is a hard thing. You know, but it's a beautiful video. It really is. And as a result of it, Declan Rice has come out with a very nice statement about it as well. For that matter, where is it? He said on his Twitter account. He said, "An honour to get to play with you, train with you, and learn from you over the past 3 years. You've been a special character for our team, and you will be missed massively. Completely agree. Thank you for everything that you've done for me personally. It will never be forgotten. Top man." Yeah, then it goes on. Then it goes on this. Yeah, then there's a few quotes in here from people on Twitter as well. But you know, it's and he said he's always going to be a massive Hammer. He's always going to be he said he's going to be a massive West Ham fan because he's going to be keeping an eye out, seeing how the boys are getting on. Because he said that he you know, we've got some great people at the club. You know, he's made, and it looks like he's made some genuine friends out of it and stuff, and quite rightly so, because the geezer's fucking talented. Even, you know, even when he was playing for Man City before they broke into the Premier League, you know, the man is, well, just after they broke into the Premier League, it was beforehand while they were in League One. You know, he's a massively underrated player for a lot of things. Not underrated from our point of view because he's been fantastic for us, albeit he is underrated. Because from our point of view, you know, because we saw him at the latter end of his career, and a lot of people have said, myself included, quite a few times, have said that you know, his legs, he's not the quickest, bless him, and he's not. But he's a very talented man, and he's given Fredericks, and he's given the now departed Ngakia, which we'll come on to again in a few minutes. He's given both of them and other people very good instructions on how to be a footballer. Very good instructions. So as a result of that, you know, Pablo, I know he's not watching, but if he is, Zabaleta, you will be massively missed. Chris says, no, it's not inappropriate. I mean, you could put it up. It's funny. I'll have a look at it in a minute, mate. When we come towards the end of the video, I've made a note of it. Actual fact, I will have it ready. So. Yeah, so as I say, because Superbad is a movie, don't forget, mate. So I'm just looking at the pictures now, man. Are you sure? He looks nothing like him. Absolutely nothing like him. Gary Page, good evening, mate. Hope you're all right. Chris says Zab knows good English. He knows better English than the Scousers. Gary says, should have had him at the club as a defensive coach. He's going to go to City, man. He's agreed 100%, but he's going to go to City. He's totally going to City. Kent Emmers, good evening, mate. Zab's proper pro, did the same as Taricho in the early 2000s. He played a couple of games and ripped his contract up. Yep, agreed. Chris says also, what's funny, Mourinho at an interview said, as a Chelsea supporter and goes on to manage Tottenham, he's a snake. Well, he's money. It's money. Look, this is the stupid thing, and I'm going to go on a bit of a rant about this, Chris, because you're bang out of order saying stuff like that, right? Because he's not a snake in any shape or form, right? There are a lot of players that support different football clubs, including the rivals that they play for. Yeah, Mourinho is exactly the same. It's a job to him. Managing Spurs, managing Chelsea, managing Man United, it's a job to him. If he supports a football team that he's not managing, fair play to him. Yeah, but you shouldn't criticize and call somebody a snake for doing what he's doing, because it's not. He doesn't. Just because he goes to the rivals doesn't mean he's not wishing that the other team beat Spurs. Yeah, that's the whole point. This isn't being a snake in under any shape or form. It's working. If he's supporting Chelsea, fine. It's like me. If I went and got a job in Millwall's credit control, doesn't make me a snake. Everybody knows I'm still a West Ham supporter. If I go, if I go and work for the club, doesn't make me a snake. So have a bit of perspective. Yeah. Chris says Superbad is a good movie though. It is funny. It's not as funny as it when it first came out. But yeah, it is a funny film. And the face, I mean, not, honestly, guys, I'm going to put this picture up, and I'm sorry, but he looks nothing like Bowen. All right, let me just put this up. Right, guys, seriously, is that Bowen? That's Bowen. It looks nothing like. Look, they look nothing like each other. Absolutely nothing like each other. Even his beard is longer. Sorry, mate, but you're wrong out of that. I'm sorry, but no. Chris says, if we get relegated, John, can we play Millwall? Happy days. Well, Chris, they're in the Championship. If we get relegated to the Championship, of course we're going to be playing Millwall. Guys, seriously. Again, says looks more like Moyes. Newer picture, mate. It doesn't matter. He's still the same bloke. He's still the same bloke. He's not going to look like someone who's younger than him. He doesn't look like it. Right. So can we? Right. Let's get back to what we're talking about, because that's just I'm not prepared to spend all this time when everybody knows the format, and we've got. Right. So okay, so the actual retained list has been published via Knees Up Mother Brown, and so the players that have been kept on that are under contract. I've not heard of half of these guys, if I'm completely honest with you. But Sean Adakwa, Alodepo Alafalayan, Albion Ajeti, Olatununi Akinola, Ajibola Release, Joseph Anang, Michael Antonio, Fabian Balbuena, Jared Bowen, Bernardo Costa de Rosa. Apparently, he's been given a new offer. Connor Coventry, Aaron Creswell, Josh Cullen, Amandu Diallo, Grady Diangana, which we will talk about in a few minutes. Issa Diop, Masik Diju, Lucas Fabianski, Pablo Fornals, Ryan Fredericks, Sebastian Eller. The funny finding out that Sebastian's full name is actually Sebastian Roman Teddy Eller. Christian Heggie, Nathan Holland, Jordan Hugill, Roberto Jimenez, Benjamin Anthony Johnson for that matter, Daniel Kemp, Manuel Lenzini, Alfie Lewis, Emmanuel Longo Mbule, David Edward Martin. Now I'm not swearing on this, but this is exactly how his name is pronounced. Fuka Arthur Masuaku Kawila. So no wonder he just goes the name is Arthur Masuaku with a hyphenated first name of Fuka, Fuka. Alexander Silva, Mark Noble, Adempio Ademipo Ojubeko, Obeneze Angelo Agbona, Felipe Anderson Pereira Gomez. So Felipe Anderson's his first and middle name, or second double first name. Darren Randolph, Winston Wiramu Reed, Declan Rice, Robert Snodgrass, Goncalo Benito Suarez Cardoso, Nathan Wallace Newman Trott, Jack Andrew Wilshire, and Andrei Yarmolenko. The scholars that have been kept on. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more difficult. Ayola El Amin Adebayo, Michael Azer Adu, Keenan Apaya Forson, who's apparently been given an offer. Harrison Ashby, again under offer. Samuel Alfie Kagier, under offer. Daniel Peter Chesters, under offer, but is actually has signed a new contract now. Kai Michael James Corbett, Jaden Raymond Fevrier, Jake Patrick Moy Giddings, even though it says he's been released. William Winston Greenidge is given an offer. Benjamin Atticus William Heel. Daniel, I'm not going to try and pronounce his middle name. Daniel Jinadu is going to be given an offer. Gail Mulwamba Kilabeya. Sebastian Nimbeya. Sebastian Neblaya, who's been released. Jeremy Ngakia, who's again down as offer, but he's obviously he's going to be released in the next few days. Samuel Nsumbu released. Joshua Okichua offer. Vernon Brendan Parks offer. Lennon Peake has had his contract extended. Joshua Michael Philip Roach. Sirian Sanea, Kamarari Joshua Swire, Brandon Val Thomas, and Christian Veltecki. Henry, hello, mate. You could be a newsreader. No, I couldn't. No, I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to do it live. Really wouldn't be able to do it live, mate. But nice to see you. Good to see a bit more conversation going on, just rather than just one person dominating the chat. Very interesting game tonight. Thought Brentford versus West Brom. Grady and Countless for Brentford. They've got some Countless. Is it Countless? Is it Countless? They've got some right quality. Chris is saying, I want to get relegated so we can hopefully we can get rid of the players that don't want to be here. And you never know, the club won't be getting the same money as they are now. Maybe right. So we've still got a decent squad out of that. To be honest with you, completely, we've got a very, very good. We've got a decent squad still. There's rumors floating around about Andrei Yarmolenko, just as we're coming on to it. That shows that we might be selling him for less than half of the £18 million we paid for him 2 years ago. So we could be selling him for £7 or £8 million. Gary says, I feel your pain. There's 19 of you watching. Come on, more interaction, guys. Come on, this is the whole point. It's everybody talking to each other, as well as just talking to me about things, but obviously keeping to the format. But yeah, it's interesting seeing that we're possibly going to be selling Andrei Yarmolenko in the summer for, as I say, maybe seven or eight parts in this bit, because at the end, because £1 million for this bit, because at the end of the day, the guy's not good enough. He's massively injury prone, and he just, don't get me wrong. As you said yesterday, I think it was, or Wednesday night, Wednesday evening, it'd be great to have him as second striker. But with his injury record, him and Wilshere go for me. They really, really do. Hello, Mick. Good to see you. Countless players from Brentford. Look at half of their team could play in the Premier League. Yeah. So I mean, when you said countless for Brentford, I thought you meant the player was called Countless, or that you'd misspelt it, because that's how it came across. But yeah, Mick, I hope you're all right, mate, and hope your grandkid is all right in this heat, because it's mental out there in a minute. Okay, so now Rick, who, as he's mentioned earlier today, he's only listening; he's not able to participate. If you are listening still, Rick, be nice to if you're able to moderate the chat still. And likewise, if Sofian's still here as well, it'd be nice for him to moderate the chat. Rick asked. He asked me on the in the replay last night in the comments, because I always answer the questions that are put to me in the comments. As always, is Rick asked, who would be my manager if we were relegated down into the Championship? If it was up to me, who would I choose? Now, I spent a lot of time thinking about this, a lot of time, and doing a little bit of research and everything, as I usually do when I get questions of this nature, and it's not hard. It's really, really not hard. So it's really not easy to answer this question. It really, really isn't an easy one. It's really, really good. It's a really, really good question, and it's because I say I don't really pay attention to Championship football, foreign football, as much as everybody else. So my knowledge of managers is pretty much like David Sullivan's, to be honest with you. It's quite limited. But now, because obviously when Pellegrini was struggling, everybody was banging on about Niko Kovic, right? The former Bayern Munich manager. So I thought myself, I was thinking about this earlier today, and I thought, let's have a think about it. Just because a lot of the time I said that when we had Bilic, I said that and when David Sullivan, let's be frank, it's Slav's first season was brilliant for us. It was fantastic. I guarantee Sullivan went to him, right, I'll give you all the money you want to give us a landmark goodbye to the stadium, because that's what the fans want, and that's what we should be doing. And Bilic did it. He got the players in that he wanted. Everybody listened to his formations, his tactics. It wasn't perfect, but we gave the Bowling Ground one hell of a send off, especially the last game of the season, and finished 7th in the table. That was superb. It really, really was, as we've all talked about over the last 3 to 4 years. It was fantastic. It was brilliant. Next season, Sullivan got his checkbook out again. We bought way too many players. All of the crap. All but 2 really were crap. Because when Masuaku first came into us, he was fantastic, and Feghouli was a great player as well. The rest of them, I don't think, out of those 11 that we bought in, don't think we should have had. Really don't think it was complete waste of time. It really was. But this is the thing. But as I say, when Pellegrini was floundering, and loads of people were talking about Niko Kovic, I thought to myself, yeah, let's have a think about it and have a look at his information and his record and everything. And because I was thinking with Bilic managing in the Premier League was, once he was under his own devices, to a degree, was too early for him. He went over after he was sacked. He went over to Saudi Arabia, managed there. Didn't really do all that well, from what I understand, and I said it. I said it in those times. It was literally down to the fact that he needs a stint. I said it. There's loads of videos documenting me saying it here as well. I said he needs time in the Championship, and he's proven himself. So I kind of thought to myself, well, for me, looking at Kovac's record, when he was in charge of Bayern Munich for 65 games, right? He won 45, drawn 15, and drawn 12, I should say, and lost just 8. In those 65 games, he played 29 players out of those 65. So, it's, if we got relegated, that's the kind of manager I'd like to bring in. I'm not saying that his record would match that in the Championship, but that kind of manager for me would be brilliant. Bring him in. The best way to introduce yourself into the Premier League is to sort yourself out in the Championship. Learn it, because there's bar a few little things here and there, like the speed and the physicality. There's not that much difference between the Premier League and the Championship. There really isn't. But because that's why a lot of us are looking forward to the Championship again, because you get to see better football. from one point of view, but yeah, I'd say Kovic. Let me know what you guys are saying on this, but I honestly would say Kovic. Now to bring around the question, let's have a look to see what everyone's talking about first and foremost. Where are we? Mick says she's fine. Good. I'm glad. Rick's trying his best. He always does. He always does. Tony says, hello, mate. He said, it's a shame with Dean Gunner as I can't see him staying at West Ham if we go down. He may as well stick with West Brom. And if West Brom go up, then he will obviously want to carry on playing with them. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, it is. At the same point, yeah, if the clubs do cross paths, yeah, I can see do you know what? Actually, thinking about it, I can actually see us keeping hold of Grady. I really can. So look, you proved yourself in the Championship, prove yourself with us as well, and as on our fight back to the Premier League. That's my instincts on it. Tone says, does anyone know if the club are still planning to change our badge next season for the 125th anniversary? Tone, nobody's talked about it, but we will talk about the information soon. Kent says, talking about Yarmolenko, surprised if we could get that much money for Yarma. Thought we might just sell him for about 5 or 6 million. Yeah, as I say, it's less than half, so it could be 7 or 8, it could be 5, 6. We'll never know. If we get more than 4 or 5, I'll be happy with that. I mean, I won't be happy with that because that's a massive, massive loss. But at the same point, think of the wages we'll be saving. Chris says, I really hope that Grady stays so we could sell Anderson and get some money then to buy someone. Agreed. That's kind of where I'm going with it. Henry says, Wilshere is a waste of money completely. Tony says, I'd love to keep Yarmolenko. For me, in my head, he is out second. Is our, I think you mean their second best striker at the club. He's not a striker. He's a winger. He can play second. It's like saying Jarrod Bowen is a striker. He's not. He's a winger. Yes, both of them can play second striker, but they are not strikers. The same way that Antonio is not a striker. Just because they're played in that position doesn't mean they are that position. Players out of position, literally. Ian's in. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Chris says he hopes Yeti gets more playing time. So do I, to be honest with you. But I still completely maintain the fact that Moyes doesn't rate him. I really, really, really do. I reckon that's what it's going to be. So Moyes has another year on his contract that the board won't pay him off. We are skint. We will be skint, mate. Yeah. Mick's talking about those. Who was buying these players? And well, Sullivan was getting his checkbook out, mate. Definitely. Dell's at Dell 3-1. Deegan is in. He's on his 45,000th beer in a Nirvana. Naughty boy. Just read that we are going to risk Allaire for the Chelsea game. What's the SP on his injury? Anyone know? Well, you'll find out. Patience, dear boy. You'll find out because I'm going to be recording a preview this weekend. It's going to be going up on Patreon at 8 o'clock on Sunday night. So, Rick, if you're listening, Wally, if you're watching the replay, 8 o'clock on Sunday, UK time, of course. The preview will be going available on Patreon, and then at 8 o'clock on Monday night, it'll be available to everybody else. So stick with it. But Lucas, the only reason why I'm saying that is I'm still researching because there's contradictory information coming out from all of the places that I look. X has said one thing. Where I get my information from other things are saying something completely different. Other places are saying something completely different. It's not the fact that he said he should be available, but if it is a twisted hip, it is going to be a massive risk. If my personal opinion on it now, from the information I'm seeing, if he is in the squad, he's in the squad. I don't think he's going to be in the starting 11, but we'll have to wait and see. Tony says, apparently X said today we after QPR called Eze. No, he didn't say that, mate. He didn't say that. He said that Eze played against us in the friendly when we played QPR, and they said that he's a player that we are looking at. It didn't say we put in a bid. It said that he was impressive, and it's the type of player that they're looking for. Doesn't mean we've actually gone into it yet. We'll obviously find out once the season finishes. Once the season finishes, then we'll find out. Once the season finishes, we'll find out exactly what's going on. But yeah. I said, Dell says, I agree with the analogy, but Moyes has history. We best leave him, let him build. Yeah, I agree. It's not going to, unfortunately, it's going to be terrible, but yeah. So do you think Skrabich will come to Manchester in the Championship? I'm not sure he would. I don't think he will. I don't think he will, because from watching Hammer's chat videos today, apparently the only two managers that wanted to come to the club before Moyes was appointed was Chris Hughton and Moyes, because nobody else wants to come. But I say that's my opinion on the type of manager that I thought we could do. Tony says, I hope so, JP, as Dean Garner and Brown on wings, part of our front three would be brilliant. Exactly, Tony. I've been saying that for weeks, if not months. Edon says Yarmolenko could be sold easily to Ukraine or German team, as he has a good record in those countries. Agreed. Del says he's a striker. Yeah, of a bloody match, mate. Yeah. Mike says that Chelsea last night's seeing if a 5 at the butt will do. Gary, please. You're right. He was there. I'm hoping he noticed the things that I noticed, and as a result, well, I say I'm going to talk about what I noticed. I've been watching Chelsea for the last few games. Homer Simpson, nice to know I've got into the animated world. Nice to know. I'm new to the channel. Also, thank you very much. He says Antonio can't play as a striker. He knackers himself out in 5 minutes. Agreed. Didn't know that West Ham was being broadcast in Springfield. If we go down, if the Chuckle brothers will hunt any journeyman. Yeah, agreed, mate. Yeah, kind of. Hammer says favorite person on Hammer's chats, Charlie. He's the one I get on with the best. He's a great, but they're all great. They're all good people. But yeah, Mick says Haminson's out for the rest of the season. That's a blow. Needed that kind of player in for the running. Agreed. He's got a back problem and a twisted ankle apparently. So yeah. Chris says who is the most? You mean who is the most famous person you've ever met? Technically, the most famous person I've ever met, only Mick and probably Dell would know who they are. To be honest, I'm not going to say it. Because we're roughly of the same generation. But I haven't met any of the more recent celebrities, because I don't do that. I'm not a celebrity hunter. I don't care about any famous person, to be fair, at the end of the day, because it's not relevant. It's completely not relevant to our lives. Lucas says Chris Hughton is not a bad shout in the Championship. Yeah, he would be. Agreed. Has better tactics and has done well at Brighton. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. But again, I don't think he's going to come, because he was meant to be our manager for relegation last time round, because he came to watch the what was it, the Sunderland game when we got trounced 5-0 when we got relegated. He was there. He was in the crowd, so he was watching the game. He's obviously talked to the board and went, no way. So yeah, I don't think that would happen. Be nice. I'll take it. Don't get me wrong, but it's a short-term prospect, and I'm thinking more of the long term. Tony says I actually can't work out if Antonio works hard or if he just looks like he does, as he looks so knackered all the time. No, he works hard. He puts his effort in. He puts in the effort a lot harder than a lot of the other players guys do. That's for sure. No, it's not Weller. Even though I have met Paul and I have met Steve Craddock a few times as well. But yeah, they're not like that. Think of comedians in the 80s, 70s and 80s. So that'll get you get your own brain box going there, Mick. Emerson says a West Ham banner was in the Simpsons episode before I searched up Simpsons West Ham and it came up. It did. It was green, unfortunately, so they didn't get the colouring right. Right. So Clarity Hugh have put their poll up of fans' verdict on whether we think what the odds are relegation is. It's a total number of 1,666 people voted, and 2/3 of that made it clear they believe the drop was inevitable as we head into the last few games of the season. A total of 1,081, 64.89%, gave the Hammers a thumbs down, while only 589 people believed we would stay up, basically 35.11%. So yeah, we're all worried about it. As simple as that. We are all worried about relegation. We are all worried about it. So let's just see. Lucas says Mike Reid. It wasn't Mike Reid. Close, but it wasn't Mike Reid. Tony says if it's John Cleese, I'm jealous. No, if it was John Cleese, mate, we would have talked West Ham because apparently he is a West Ham supporter. But no, I've never actually. I've never actually had a chance to speak to him, but there's no way I'm going to. He lives out in the bloody in the one of the Tobago Islands now, from my understanding. Mick says Kelly Monteith. No, think one of there's two guys that spring to mind. Think of the 70s and Roman comedy, and think of again the 70s but military comedy. Darren says, hello mate, good to see it. Chaz and Dave Rabbit. No, it wasn't either of those two, unfortunately. Tony says, I wonder if most Villa fans have us staying up or them. I think that Villa are showing a lot more fight than we are at the moment, Tone. They are showing a lot more fight. Dale says, just seeing if I can get your hero on here. That'd be cool. It'd be nice to speak to him. Christian says, I'm hating this weather. Winter is way better. Disagreed. For me personally, I love them. I love summer in equal measure. I prefer summer when I can enjoy it. Can't really enjoy it at the moment. There's nothing better than being out in a pub garden on a summer's evening like this, with a few mates, few beers, bit of toddy. Perfect. Lucas says Jim Davison. No. Henry says Barbara Windsor. Not a chance, mate. Very, very close. Very, very close. Because one of the actors, the comedians I'm in about, was actually in a Carry On film. We're talking Dad's Army. No, but there was another one. Remember, because Dad's Army started in the 60s and went late 60s and ran obviously until when it finished. But no, more than that. Think of all right. I'll give you a clue. This isn't the bloke I met, but this is a massive link. The voice of Bones in Super Ted. That's a massive clue for you. Gary says Sid James. Nope. Right. Now, Jeremy Ngakia, we mentioned him earlier. There's a X kind of hinted at it the other day on the podcast. Ngakia is heavily linked with West Brom. It makes complete out of all of the stupid rumors we've heard. This makes the most sense. All right, just purely because of Bilic. It makes the most sense because he obviously came into he obviously came through the academy while Bilic was there. Bilic knows him very, very well. Their right back is West Brom's right back. Ferguson is leaving very, very soon. So again, he's very so that makes the most sense. It makes the complete most sense, and as a result of that, there's been a lot of people calling Bilic a hypocrite from what he said recently. So Bilic told Sky Sports, "What's the point in producing the players if you are just producing them for someone else?" That Palace move was a secret for the last few months. We did our best. We gave him, which is obviously Ferguson's being linked to going to Palace. He said we gave him a chance when he was extremely young. He was one of those players where we said we didn't need anyone in that position because we believed in him long time, believed in him big time. Basically, there's no point to have the academies because you can't tie the player up for long periods until he reaches a certain age. The player, the agent, the parents, or whatever. That's so Bilic. They just take him, and that has to be changed because we are a good club and we can't buy another Nathan Ferguson. To replace him, we would spend £15 million on the fullback, and we can't spend that money on a player in that position. They can if they're in the Premier League. So a lot of people have been calling him a hypocrite from what he was saying. A lot of people have been, and I understand it. I mean, I disagree because at the end of the day, let's say Bilic and West Brom is the ideal place for Ngakia. You know, we mentioned it with Grady. It's the most logical place. It's completely the most logical place, and I'm surprised it's taken X's comment on the podcast the other night for that rumor to start being spread. I'm really surprised. I thought this would have been going for a lot longer than that. Who else? So guys, as always, let me know what your what your thoughts are on this. Henry says, "Thank you, Howard." No. It's not Gary. I'm not even putting that up. That's not funny. Eden says, and if they're losing a player called Ferguson who's similar to Ngakia, exactly. Mick says, former Time Lord. Nope. Ken says it makes sense because I think West Brom's right back is leaving. He's a very good right back, Ferguson. Yeah. Tone says, "Oh, aren't they? Where is Ferguson going?" As I said, it's Palace. Dell, you know what time I'm going? I'm going on. Kent Hammer says, West Brom have some great youngsters coming through. They do completely. Eden says a good place for him to grow and get experience. Yep, definitely. Last one, David Jason. Nope, sadly not. Gary says, how have we got to the point where it's okay to let Tennant leave? Gary, it happens at every single club. Every single club. And it shows, with respect to you, Gary, it shows that you've not been paying attention to anything that's been reported over the last 5 to 6 weeks about this. Yeah. The club have done everything in their power to keep him, but him and his agents, as read yesterday on the statement, him and his agents have said no because he's been tapped up to another club. They've given him very, very good offers. In my opinion, I think they've given him very, very good offers. Bearing in mind he's an academy graduate with only 4 or 5 appearances four in the Premier League and 1 at league in club level, cup level. If I remember correctly, he's not the player that he thinks he is. He has the potential for that, which is why we've given him a potentials contract. But they've systematically turned around now, and they've systematically not given any information whatsoever as to what their demands actually have been. They've just said no, and they've not come back with any counter offer. It's been documented left, right, and centre. X has confirmed it. Hammers Chat guys have confirmed it. Everything. Tone says we're not as bad as Southampton. Thank God, they love to sell. They do, but they invest it correctly. They bring their academy players through. They sell them off. And the money that they get for them, they invest them in better players. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. If you're selling players, doesn't matter what the circumstances is. If you're selling one player, you need to try and bring in somebody that's better with that money. That's the whole point. It's the whole point. And that's where we've been going wrong the last 40, 50 years, give or take a few seasons. Yeah, that's the whole problem where all clubs in general have been going wrong. Chris says, I read something the other day. John Terry scored against us. His family, West Ham supporters, were giving him abuse. Yeah, that was the night that at Stamford Bridge, when because he's always scored against us. Lampard and Terry have always scored against us, and they love doing it. But yeah, what what you're talking about, Chris, is it's the article where he was talking about it was his uncle and his dad, if I remember correctly, were in the crowd. Kent says, "I'm off, John. Cheers for the daily videos, the Christian daily. Cheers, mate. All the best." Henry says, "I was thinking he would end up at Arsenal." Nah, West Brom. West Brom is the most logical part of it, right? So, talking about the podcast, Adam Tyne, I think his name is on Twitter. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Alex mentioned something about how the new kits may look like. Did you read it? Not only did I read it, mate, I heard it on the podcast. We talked about this yesterday, and I was coming right to it. Now, this guy on Twitter has asked X if these images, if these pictures here, are pretty much what the club are looking at for next season. So those. Now we know from when we talked about these beforehand. Sorry for hitting the mic there. That the one on the left has already been given the thumbs up. They really like it out of all the concept kits. Dale, you've already said that, mate. But this apparently this is where we're going with it. Now, one thing I really like about the home kit. This is closer to what they this is closer to what everyone was saying, because when people were saying it was, there was loads of other images, and Andy quite rightly thought he was able to get that image, but this is very, very close to it, because X did say about the 60s and 90s hoops on the away shirt. He said that the concept kit for the home kit is the home kit is looking very much like the days of the bowling ground, the last season at the bowling ground, which has a claret body, blue sleeves with a circular sort of neckline, and that's exactly what it is. And likewise, they're doing that with the away kit as well. So I'm not saying these are, here we go, yeah. But yeah, Andy, mate, these aren't. I mean, yeah. Thank you, evening all. Nowhere near what you tweeted me yesterday, but these are very, very close to how things have been described by X. If these are going to look anything like this, I love this. I really, really love these designs. What I especially love is the old school hammers down on the shorts. I love that. I think that looks brilliant on its own. Why they couldn't have done that for the away kit, I don't know, but that looks fantastic. I really, really hope that's going to be the case, because as I say, that it just looks brilliant. It really, oh Christ, I've just forgotten actually. Stick that back on. It does look really, really good. That very, very good. I'll be very, very happy, as I said, if anything comes out like that. Tone says, love those kits, very traditional looking. Agreed. Chris, I'm not putting that comment on because we spoke about that about 20 minutes ago. Chris says the away kit reminds him of the 2011 away strip. Yeah, very good. Should have away stockings. Mate, I'm not even going to ask why you're asking that. Says also the badge in the sky blue has a more of a 50-60 feel, which I really love. Yeah, agreed. That's I really, really love that. I mean, because at the end of the day, the current badge has exactly the same thing, just in the current colours. That's it. So that's why I don't really understand why everyone's been kicking up about this. Apart from the London bit, which I agree, it shouldn't be on there. Shouldn't be on there at all. But as I say, those are concept kits that are the closest that to what X is as X is described. Eden says feels too good to be true. We will find out in a few weeks, mate. Once the season finishes, we will find out. Now we know, and we've spoken about this player before. That we're linked with Connor Goldson. We've been linked quite heavily with him, the Rangers defender. Now Frank McAvenny, he's been very, very busy recently. But but he's put his thoughts on it, and I can understand it. He said, I do not think Connor is good enough for the Premier League. Every week there is so much pressure on you, especially at a club like West Ham because they are down there. That's it. Actually, that's the full quote. And yeah, because at the end of the day, his stats may be fantastic for Rangers, but it doesn't mean that he's going to operate in the same way that he is. He's going to play in the Premier League. It's as simple as that. I totally get what Frankie's talking about. Completely get what Frankie's talking about. Because that's the point. That's his opinion. He obviously, him being a sweaty, he sees them. He obviously he must be following Rangers quite closely. So he thinks he's not good enough, and fair enough. I'm not going to argue with him at all, because if you've seen him, he's seen them. Chris says, I think those claret shorts would be better. We are known as claret and blue, not claret and blue and white. But we've always had white shorts, mate. Always had white shorts. Mick says, I'm very old school. Yeah, I know you are, mate. Yeah. And it's fair enough. But stockings. Now, Rio, talking of old school, Rio Coker is Del says Frank would bonk your missus. Mate, he's bonked everything. He's bonked everything. Rio Coker's come out and talked about what's been going on. He's been talking with Sky Sports. I know a lot of us don't like him, and that's fair enough. But I read what he said is pretty spot on. He said it's just West Ham. What do you expect? It can put you through a roller coaster of emotions as a fan. I think it is all to do with a lack of direction. They change and move direction so quickly without having a definite direction. If that makes sense to people, yeah, it does. That's exactly as it is. We've had so many different changes, so many different things, and so the money has been well spent. I wouldn't say so. I think well and truly a whole new overhaul of the club needs to be done, where someone needs to be put in place as a real director of football stays in place with the real vision. For West Ham fans, one thing they get is bringing players through their academy and knowing the fan base and how passionate they are to really understand that club and present the club. I think that if they have that British foundation, having the best of British players, Jesus, has he never actually breathe in young players with a sprinkle of foreign spice? That is when the club is at its best, when they go through so many different directions and signing players which haven't been proved playing in England and know what it means to play for the club and the burden that comes playing for that club. Jesus Christ. Honestly, Sean, learn your grammar. Learn how to put a full stop. Christ almighty. Honestly, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and a half, so pretty much 10 and a half, so pretty much 11 full sentences there, and there is only 1, 2, there are 2 full stops in that, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 7 commas. 7 commas and 2 full stops over 11 sentences. Sean, mate, he must have drawn breath at some point. Gary said, who would you not want to be our shirt sponsor, e.g. Bassett & Gold? Well, Gary, Bassett & Gold don't exist. The company was liquidated, so I'm sorry, but mate, but that's a completely irrelevant question. Tony says, nuts how quickly football changes, especially with the youngsters' growth. I remember Burke being ahead of Rice for a few years. Yes, he was. Reece Burke. Yeah, completely. There's a player that I really, really missed. Really, really missed. I think I think he's an absolutely fantastic player. I really, really do. But yeah, but Nigel is spot on there. He really, really is absolutely spot on. Because he called it. He's absolutely smashed it with what he said there. You know, he literally just says exactly as things are. We love seeing the academy players come through. We like seeing expansive football, which is what he's talking about when it comes to the young players with a bit of a foreign spice. You know, we like to see the old school way of doing things. It's an outdated concept in the Premier League nowadays. I mean, not even Arsenal play the free flowing football that they were famous for. You know, Man City do it. It just shows the level of quality you need nowadays to have the old school League One style. Excuse me, the old school League One style West Ham football. You need players like Kevin De Bruyne. We need players like Raheem Sterling, Mahrez, you know, Laporte. We need players like that nowadays to play like West Ham we want to do, and that's the thing. We'll never see it, unfortunately. Del says DM after, mate. Yeah, fine, mate. DM me on Twitter, mate. Darren says, any thoughts on the JPWHU TV Fantasy Football League table and young managers? I know why he's saying this, because we were talking about this. Richie, his son, we're on points. We're in the same position on points. I'm 10th in the table. Richie's 11th. But yeah, you know, it's ridiculous. It's funny. It is funny. But thanks, Dan. I was waiting how long it was going to take you to say that. And he says, we don't have any scouts. No, mate, we don't. And that brings me around to a tweet that I responded to. Now we all know David Gold's love for tweeting in the end of, you know, in the mid 2011s and all that sort of stuff. Somebody retweeted his tweet of September 16 saying, there's no reason why we can't play Champions League football within the next 5 years. I replied to that yesterday saying there is a real reason why we won't be playing. We won't be playing in those 5 years, because we haven't in the last 4. Because there's no investment, there's no scouting system, there's no real passion from the board. I went on quite a heavy rant about it, actually, if I'm honest. Let me just see. So for those that follow me on Twitter, you guys will know what I'm talking about. But where are we? Where is the tweet? Where's the replies? There you go, replies. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, so David Gold basically said there's absolutely no reason why this is dated September 13th of September 2016. There is no reason why we can't be playing in the Champions League within the next 5 years. I tweeted them this morning. In this morning, they said there is a reason why that won't happen, just like the same reason it didn't within the last 5 years. No scouting system, money-hungry players and agents, no passion at board level, incorrect investment all over. Please shape up or sell up. You three are killing our club, and that's exactly how. I know you didn't notice it, you bugger. We were talking about it. It's because it's true. Every single word of that is true. All they've done is they've paid in the last 12 years. West Ham have paid 79, almost 80 million pounds to agents. And what have we got to show for it? Now I'm saying this because obviously, you know, that's I'm saying this because obviously that includes the times under the Icelandic owners. But WHU put the information up on the website in the 2008-2009 season, which is when I got my heart really started paying attention properly to West Ham. Was able to. They pay in agent fees. They paid £5.5 million over the 2008-2009 season. From the 2009-2010 season, which is when I got my half season ticket, 3.4 million pounds to agents. In the 2010-11 season, they paid £4.4 million to agents. The 12-13 season, £4.1 million. 13-14 season, so basically, yeah, basically the building up to the season of us leaving the stadium, £6.3 million, 14-15 season, just over £7 million, 15-16 season, which is 2.6 million. The 16-17 season, £9.4 million in agents fees. 17-18 season, £8.3 million. Last season, £14.4 million, and this season, 13.1. It just shows how money it's literally doubled. And almost tripled over the last 10 years. Slow but sure increase up until the last couple of seasons. It's been mental. It's been absolutely ridiculous the amount of money we've spent on the club. Times it's true. We go in circles. We appoint a manager, give him a budget to buy players, then sack him 3 years later. Then a new manager comes in, and then the new manager has a squad that isn't his. We need scouts and a director of football. Agreed. And Dale says, I think I spent 50 million on booze this virus. I wouldn't put it past you, Sunshine. We wouldn't put it past you. And he says, we also need a structure on scouting and developing players and sticking to it. Agreed. 100%. But guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, it's been a pleasure to talk to you guys. If you're new around here, welcome. It's great to see you. By all means, please do subscribe to the channel if you've liked it. And also for that matter, please do like the video if you've enjoyed the video as well. Please share it on Twitter. You can see it on Twitter because it's through Periscope anyway, but retweet it if possible. Share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, whatever. Just try and get some more people on, because it'd be nice to have a few more people in the audience. So in the meantime, guys, have a great evening. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you tomorrow evening as always. All the best.